Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday morning. It is Marisa Fletcher here with the Women of Power weekly training series that we do every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome everyone Welcome everyone back to our weekly training. Thank you guys for joining us back. I am here with the wonderful Crystalline Yim, Isela Bonata, and Cynthia Alvidrez. We are 4 mentors that are in the Power platform that are dedicated to the company, dedicated to the group, dedicated to solar, and making sure that we show up and provide training each and every week for you guys. So thank you guys, everyone, for joining us again. For all our new guests, welcome. We like to get started with some inspiration. So we always say this group is hosted by women, but it's not only for women, it is open to everyone. And so at this time, what we like to do is give inspiration. If you want to raise your electronic hand or jump off of mute, please share with us. Give us some good news, positivity only, no negative zone. But let's have some good news. We know there's been a lot of changes recently with solar, but have you gotten a new electric bill? Any recent installs? I know a lot of those installs going up before summer. Who wants to jump off mute and share with us? Who's not shy? Everyone's shy. Anyone, anything to share?
Well, I'll go, Marissa.
All right, Chris.
So out of all this craziness with, the NEM 3.0, I was finally able to install a few projects. So I've had at least 6 installs in the last 3 weeks. So that's great news. I'm excited. So I'm planning a next break and vacation somewhere in the next few months here. So,
Got you.
But that also brings me to, I got to get back to work because I have installs. So now I got to get more in the pipeline, right? So
exactly, keep the system going.
Yes.
Great share. Installs are always nice and fun shares. I'm going to find your social media so I can share in those wins with you as well.
Definitely. Yes.
Anyone else?
I got one.
All right, Barry, welcome back. What you got for us, my friend?
Well, finally my ground mount that I've had for months got power on notification. So that's always a good thing.
Nice. Tell us about that ground mount system.
That's the one that at the time I still needed a mentor, and that was Chris Brunasso. But that's the one I got from the husband of the mayor of Anaheim. And it was a long time in coming. So I was glad he finally got power on, but it was a tough project, let's put it that way, for a lot of reasons.
But it got done, right?
It got done, and we love it, and hopefully he will still refer after all we went through, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we're still going to be friends. We'll see.
I'm sure you're going to be just fine, Barry. Who cannot be friends with you, sir, with that wonderful personality?
Well, I appreciate that.
Of course. The good thing about looking at some of these longer projects maybe are the opportunities that they create, because now you've got that ground mount under your belt. You've gone through the ropes with it. You know what to do for next time. And the next one's probably going to go through a whole lot smoother, right?
Well, of course.
That's right.
Of course.
Thank you, Barry. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
See a hand, my friend Robin. The floor is yours.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon. So I did 3 events over the last 2 weekends for Earth Day. And, I'm looking at this, a lot of what I'm looking at is the long term, because my goal is to just be in this and this to be what I do for the rest of my life. So I look at a lot of it as creating community, creating connection. So I was able to meet with our local state representative because she happened to stop by my table because she wants to get solar. And also our town first selectman came by because he wants solar. So I had really, really good conversations with both of them. And then in addition, we have in my town, we have a environmental task force. And so they stopped by to talk to me about how we could work together. And again, I told all of them, I said, I'm happy to just do a talk, a solar 101, not talk about my company, but, introduce solar really just kind of get the word out there. But for me, it was it was just great to get all these connections. And I thought, man, if I end up getting the state representative or the town first selectman to go solar with me, like that would be really big. So it was positive in that way, that I feel like it's about, for me, like growing and expanding my connections here.
That's awesome, Robin. That is a great share. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that'll be a great connection if you do get one of those as a solar client, right? Get a testimonial, have a little bit of bragging rights, right? That's an awesome share. I mean, events are really a great way to go. The education piece where you said, I won't talk about my company, just provide education. That's another great way to go to get more clients, referrals, and ambassadors that can continue to bring you a steady flow of potential solar clients. So amazing. And with Earth Month, and then Earth Day being all this month, that was really, really, really good to capitalize on. I actually have a quick share. Since I am a solar realtor, I'm a part of the EXP network. The EXP network has a climate action network that they have that's nationwide for climate change as renewable energy. Obviously, solar is a huge part of that. I was honored to be on a panel with the EXP Climate Action Network, and this was on just this past Tuesday. I was a solar realtor. There was an appraiser there that spoke about solar. And then there was another solar professional that was out in Colorado. So you had someone from California, Colorado, and then I believe it was Florida, another state. And we were a panel, and all of our perspectives came together on what solar looks like in these different states. So when you participate in those kind of events, I was honored to be a part. That's now recorded, and it is now in the EXP world for all of their 85,000 agents to take a look at. So things like that, same like with you, it's creating that content, getting that information out there that's going to continue to bring you that business coming in later. So that was my big share. That, thank you, Robin, for reminding me of that one, because I think that was a real big one. I really enjoyed doing that. And I know that it's going to continue to build for me down the line. So yeah, if you guys can get in on those type of events, please do let them know. They're eager to hear from solar realtors or just from solar professionals that can explain it from different perspectives. Right? All right. Anyone else want to give a share? We've got like another minute or two. We can hear your voices. Anyone? Going once? Going twice?
I could share, sorry.
All righty, Stella.
Hi, sorry, everybody. I was like focused to try to get these quick slides together.
I see you. No worries.
So, no, just really excited to be back. I'm so excited to share with you all, but I've got a couple of installations happening this week. One that happened that I didn't even realize when I was gone. I was checking in on the job to see, hey, so we got a awesome, this particular is a friend of mine in the city of Whittier who quoted me out with at least 5 other during NEM, this whole NEM 3.0 madness. And the reason why I guess I won the bid was one, because I was open to teach her what to ask others, right? And then their search, she's like, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I said, of course I will. You're my friend. Even though if you decide not to go with me, these are the questions that you need to ask. Are they a nationwide company, right? Unfortunately, some of these mom and pops may go out of business after NEM, after all the installations are complete, the warranties, and I stood out with the RECs. So anyways, really happy. So excited that we got that installation. I got a couple coming that I'll share with you next week. And that's all for me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for that share, Isela. We appreciate you, my friend. We're going to be going to you here real shortly to find out about all the greatness that happened at SolarCon. So get ready for that. But right before we jump into that, we want to give you guys a moment to take a look at the future trainings that are coming up with Powur. If you have your phone handy, if you're not actually zooming in on your phone, can you grab a screenshot of this? As many of you know, some may not, we have great training every single week. And it's not just corporate training, it's team leader training as well, just like this one that we have on Thursdays. But we've got our Monday trainings with JC Rangel. We also have our Flow Mondays. Every Tuesday, we have our team training series with the Power Hitters and Solar Warrior Tribe. Of course, again, you got us here on Thursdays. And then again, on Fridays, you have Building with Bobby. That is just a small snippet of the training that is provided for this platform. If you go ahead, again, take a screenshot of that. Here is a snapshot of other trainings on powercalendar.com. So you want to go ahead and plug into the powercalendar.com. You'll see the in-phase solar edge, all of our office hours. Really important, if you're not on the market development meetings, please make sure to get in on those market development meetings. That's where all the latest and greatest news is provided to us specific to our markets. Okay. And then we also send out a weekly newsletter for everyone that joins these calls. In that weekly newsletter, we will have a recap of all of these meetings as well as a video recording of this meeting. So if you are not a part of the newsletter, please drop your first and last name in the chat along with your email. You will get added to that newsletter. It goes out every Friday. One more screen share for you, how to get project help. You know, we're talking about the projects that we have in the pipes right now. We're getting some installation, we're getting some PTO. But the important thing for these projects is that we have proper communication. So if you grab a screenshot of this, you have any questions about your projects, these are the steps that you should be taking in this order in order to get the help on those current projects. I want to make sure everybody has the tools and resources that they need to be successful. All right, now, before we jump into the training for today, just to give you guys an idea of what it is we're going to do, the Women of Powur are all going to do a part training with you on NEM 3.0. I'm going to start it out with the intro to NEM 3.0. Next week, we'll have Cynthia give you objections, how to overcome different objections in regards to NEM 3.0. And then we'll have Chrislyn do part 3, and then the wonderful Miss Isela do part 4. But right before we jump into that, guys, we just came back from SolarCon. Now, I say we, I didn't actually participate this year, unfortunately, but Miss Isela did. So she is going to jump in and share with you all the news, all the information, just all the excitement that happened at SolarCon this year. For all of us, including myself, that was not able to make it this year, we're definitely going to be there next year. But here's some of the reasons why. So Isela, I'm going to give you the floor. You can go ahead and take over.
So can I share? Oh yeah, I can share my screen. Sorry about that. So let me just do. Literally did this in like let me see. I can't. I'm trying to view. Sorry, I have my screen on this side. That's why I'm looking to the left. So, okay, so I'm going to share with you really quick. So SolarCon 2023 was in Salt Lake City, Utah. I have no idea what I was going to walk into. I went with the open heart, open mind. I didn't have a team that I went with. I went by myself. I said, man, I'm getting on the plane by myself. And so anyways, I went with open heart, open mind. I walked in. So SolarCon 2023 is a must next year. Put it on. They don't have dates yet, right? They have not released the dates, but as soon as they do, I recommend minimum the VIP ticket. Let me share just a little bit. Open heart, open mind. See, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I have video of our Powur booth. Powur reached out to some of our top leaders, and they actually pitched in for this booth. And I was not part of that elite group that participated in there, but I was there, of course, with heart and mind. And just really quickly, you know, in the solar industry, Powur, it has a certain stigma, right? Because now I understand why. These people have been fighting for the solar industry for 10 to 15 years. They're the ones that have been breaking their backs, like fighting with the legislators, you know, keeping this industry alive, you know, fighting with, you know, the negative connotations of solar and how, you know, certain things that have come up from the industry. And here comes Powur building this whole new platform. And they're like, who's this? So the first day I didn't have my pink hat on, by the way. I was just kind of like, you know, taking it on. This was the third day right here when I was proud to be part of Powur. So, you know, Powur reps representing Powur. I mean, gold. They really stood out. There was about 50 of us there. This is the day that Jonathan Budd spoke, and wow, he touched us so much. No, I'll touch on that, but I had the opportunity to talk to Jonathan Budd. I shared with him what we were doing with the Women of Powur. He has our full support. He's really excited for what we're doing and creating. And I tell you, the booth was outstanding. Tammy from marketing did an outstanding job, as well as all the top leaders. Cynthia Alvidrez was part of that elite group, and they did a phenomenal job. So just wanted to share that. Kiara Smithy, for those of you that were able, if you can go back and look at our Women of Power when she was on, her presentation was at an executive level, classy. She was one of the only women that were a keynote speaker on the main stage. There was 4. There was one main stage and 2 breakout. I mean, she was just on fire. I mean, she was excellent, above, I mean, executive, cannot say anything more than she talked about the 6 different ways of leveling up your brand, or talking about leveraging, how to leverage social media with your brand for branding, which she touched upon with Women of Power. So she was amazing. We had speakers every single hour. So after Jonathan Budd spoke, the guys in the yellow, they're called Andy Elliott. They're a sales strategy team. And they came out and they do this thing and they threw Jonathan Budd up. It was a surprise to get the crowd going. So Jonathan Budd shared with him his story, but in a deeper level and different than how he shares it with Power. One thing I didn't know is that he actually sold his car. The last thing where he's like, we're not going to make it. This was way back when Power first started, and he needed the board to commit to more money, more funds. And so he had to sell his car. So he talked about 100% commitment. After his speech, I mean, like again, everyone after that looked at Power in a completely different eye in the industry. And then after that, they had a private VIP area. They hosted lunch for 3 days. We had about 60, you can see this picture here. We've got about 50 of us, 60 of us in a private room, VIP room, just chatting with potential recruits and with us, asking him whatever we wanted about Power. So that was excellent. We got Charles Thompson, you saw there on the side. All his stuff, I have it on video. He talked about time management. It was excellent, amazing. Maybe one of these days I could come in and share what he shared with me that I'm going to apply for time management, which is a little bit differently in a different view. And here you see Michelle Spina. I got a chance to talk to her. This woman is so smart. She had somebody in a meeting all day long. I can't even tell you how many times I went to her booth. And she was busy. And then here we got Spencer from Enphase. They didn't have a booth, SolarEdge did. And then we got Jordan. From those of you who don't know, that's Jordan from Mosaic on the right-hand side. He's amazing. He always takes my calls or takes my text messages. So it's always good to make good relationships with our vendors, you know, with our suppliers, because they're there to help us. So that was awesome. Ran into them. And then these are a couple of our Power Warriors. We've got, you know, Brunasa, we've got Jared McAllister. In the bottom, we've got Mike Patterson that used to be a firefighter and gave up that, you know, retired from being a firefighter to be full-time Power. We got Owen, we got Solar Mike. And this gentleman right here, I didn't know who he was. His name is Gustavo, when I ran into him at the airport. I'm like, excuse me, are you with Power? He's like, are you? I said, yes. And he's like, and he like gave me this big old bear hug. I didn't know who he was, but at the end of the show, I got to know him really well. And then Ubaldo here on the right-hand side, and Natalie. I mean, just Janet, Women of Power. I got to meet Brad Lee. He got to sign my book. I brought it all the way. For those of you who don't know Brad Lee, follow him at the Brad Lee. Dropping Bombs is a great podcast. I met him a couple of times, and this time I brought my book. And then Earl, if you don't know Earl Capule, please check him out on Facebook. Amazing inspiration. He's also from the solar world. Now he's training. And I think that's what what I took from this, everyone, is that I have a lot of respect for the solar industry now. Not that I didn't before, but we were stuck in a little power bubble. That's all I've ever known. And once that you heard all the speakers, phenomenal speakers from the industry, the CEO Goodley, oh, I've got video and footage from that, and I'll be posting some of that soon. But just a lot of respect for the industry and how all of them have been fighting to do what's right for our planet, the renewable energy, to put as much solar to many homes as they can. But their why is a lot deeper. It's way above money, because Goodley CEO is like a billionaire and he retired already. So all the speakers up there touched my heart. If for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, it's Isela_Solar Energy Queen. I posted the live of Jonathan Budd's speech. Oh, anyways, so that's all I want to say. Wrap it up. Women, it was like 20 men to 1 woman. everybody, you must go to SolarCon next year, 2024. It has to be on your calendar. You need to go. All the speakers were top notch in the industry. And I felt, proud to be not only in Power, but as a female and a woman in this industry. I felt very powerful after I left that. And I also, later on in a different one, I'd like to share with you all the objection handling that they did on the platform. They had a competition and I recorded every single question, every single objection. And that's all what I want to say, because I don't want to take away with NEM 3.0, but I mean, it was just phenomenal. I can't say I'm on fire. So, and that's why it's important for all of you to make sure that you guys go to Power World in September. That's also a must. So with that being said, thank you so much. Marisa, take it.
Isela, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I could feel the energy that was there through you on the Zoom today, right? I mean, great photos, great, man. I'm a little bummed that I missed it, but I will not be missing the next one.
Yeah, and then just to connect with our Power family. I mean, we see each other through Zoom, but to see each other in person, we danced, we laughed, we cried. It was awesome.
That's right. And you're in the room with Power Family and you don't even know it yet because we're just seeing the heads, right? Awesome. Thank you so much again for that, Miss Isela. Now we'll jump into the training. This week's training is going to be hosted by myself, and I'm going to be talking about NEM 3.0, but specifically storage solutions. Okay. This is again, an intro training. It's part 1. Next week, we'll have part 2, and it'll just go deeper and deeper and a deeper dive into NEM 3.0. Okay. So let's jump right on in just to give everyone an overview and agenda. We're going to do a quick recap of NEM 3.0. I'm sure everyone on this call knows what it is, but just a quick recap of it. The rise of storage, Power's solution. We're going to talk about client discovery, and then the brand advantages that we have here with Power. Okay. All right. So NEM 3.0, what is it? And an easy, quick way to explain to a homeowner that doesn't know all the ins and outs of it. NEM 3.0, when you're talking to a homeowner, you can ask them, have they heard of the recent changes to the California solar policy called NEM 3? And then you can ask them, what is their understanding of the changes? Okay. A quick snapshot. When you go solar, you send excess solar power back to the grid and receive credits from the utility company. It's called net metering. For California, we are in NEM 3, which is the 3rd version of California's rooftop solar policy. In NEM 3, the utility company will give you less for the power you send back to the grid, about 75% less than what the utility company is charging homeowners for that energy. So the compensation for extra energy drops from an average of 30 cents to around 5 cents a kilowatt. The utility companies are charging their consumers retail prices for energy, but they're buying it back from us at wholesale rates. Pretty frustrating, right? So that's my quick little explanation to explain the differences of import-export credits. The key is that it's frustrating. We're being charged at 30 cents, 40 cents. It depends on the time of day. And on average, they're getting back about 5 cents a kilowatt. Okay, so that's NEM 3.0. Now that we're fully immersed in it, this is our reality. Okay, because of that, there is a rise of storage. As everyone knows, everyone's heard of it. There are going to be a lot more sales of batteries and storage solutions. It's even in the news. PV Magazine posted an article, California's new net metering policy brings batteries to the forefront. So not only us in the solar world understand that, consumers are starting to understand that more as well, as they're getting the articles, as they're reading the news. Okay. What is important about the rise of storage? Okay. Well, there's a big opportunity for us that are in the industry. That shift towards solar and storage is that opportunity, and it's a big momentum that's coming up right now. It's going to provide energy independence and grid stability as more and more consumers leave the utility company and go with solar. They're not taxing the grid as hard as it's being taxed right now. The key thing, and the thing I'm going to focus on, is protection from NEM 3 changes, or for the changes to the NEM policy. So prior, when we were in NEM 2.0, we did not necessarily need a storage solution in order to save money or predict what we were going to be using. Now you're going to need to have some type of storage solution. There's also cost savings that come with storage, the incentives and rebates that are available, and of course, obviously the environmental benefits for the planet. All that comes with storage, and it's the reason why you're going to see more and more storage projects, especially in the California area. All right. So Powur's energy storage solutions, in a quick just nutshell, because this is a very broad view training, Powur provides 3 different solutions. Powerhouse is their partial or full backup solution. That is a full battery. That is for blackout protection. Okay, so that's the Powerhouse. If they need blackout protection, they're going to have to go with one of those solutions. The Power Saver one, though, that's the one that I'm going to focus on a little bit more today. That's the one that protects them from the NEM 3.0 changes. Okay, that is the self-consumption solution. That is the storage solution. It provides 0 backup protection, but it does provide storage. And then last but not least is the Power Basic solution. That's just solar panels by themselves. No storage, no backup. Okay. Now, the thing with the Power Basic is that it's only going to offer a small offset during the daytime or during the daytime hours. It's about 30 to 50% offset of what their current energy bill is, but they'll still have the additional bill from the utility company. So it's important to understand the differences in all 3 of these solutions that Powur offers. The way to understand it fully and in great detail is Powur's training, their certification and training that they have online. If you haven't taken that yet, please carve out some time for that. If you're new to batteries or new to storage, it is going to take you a little bit of time, but it will break down everything that you need to know when you're talking to a consumer or talking to a client about what their needs are for storage. Okay, so make sure to jump in that energy storage certification. But I will give you just the nuts and bolts, the basics of what Powur has and what they're offering as of today, the time of this training. So the first one is Solar Edge Home. Okay, the first solution that they offer are with Solar Edge with Michelle Spina, which Isela just showed you a picture of her. She's a very smart, educated woman. If you need more info on how it works, she'll gladly help you with that. But in a nutshell, just a quick overview of Solar Edge. Those are DC coupled batteries, and they come in 10 kWh increments, so 10 kilowatt hour increments. When you use a Solar Edge battery, you do need to tie it into an Energy Hub inverter. So you want to make sure that you add that if you're designing a project with that. The reason why people use Solar Edge, or the reason why I use Solar Edge, I'll talk to me specifically, the installation is a lot simpler than some of our other products on the platform, because there's less likelihood of you needing to upgrade the MPU with Solar Edge. The way the technology works, the way that the conversions are, there's less conversions with Solar Edge systems. And so we may not need to upgrade the MPU that the client already has. And it also provides greater round trip efficiency. So in essence, it provides less clipping than some of the other solutions. And you can also oversize a Solar Edge inverter up to 200%. Okay, so those are some of the reasons why I use Solar Edge, some of the differences with Solar Edge. To give you an example of what it looks like, I'm sure you guys have seen some of these before, but this is what it looks like. This is what a system can look like on the wall. I want you to notice that you do need some wall space to put these batteries in. So when we go over client discovery, those are some of the things that we're going to talk about, the different type of questions that you need to bring up with your client that were different from when we were selling solar in the NEM 2.0 world. Okay, so that's what a Solar Edge solution looks like as an example. The other solution that we have as of today for our clients are in-phase batteries with microinverters. So in-phase IQ batteries are AC coupled batteries. They start at 3.3 kWh increments, so 3.3, and they go up to 10 and higher. With those batteries, there's a separate connection point, and each 3.3 kWh battery has 4 microinverters included with it. So if you're doing a 10 kWh battery, it's going to have 12 microinverters with it. Okay. Now, there are differences with power output, what you need. It all depends on what the client is getting the battery for. We're going to talk about that, okay? When we're talking with clients about battery backup, a couple of things. Number one, we don't assume that they know what it is or they know what it's about. We've got to kind of explain it to them. And then number two, we've got to understand why they want this battery. And then that's going to dictate which system we decide to go with. Okay. Right now, Powur has the 2 Solar Edge and in-phase. They do have another battery coming on the platform here soon called Franklin. As soon as that one drops, we'll be talking to you about that one as well. Here is what an in-phase IQ battery system looks like on the wall, okay? So again, this is just very brief, very general. Want to give you some of the differences between in-phase and between Solar Edge, our two options. What I found now that we switched to the NEM 3.0 world is, again, that client discovery is going to be a whole lot different than what it was in the 2.0 world, okay? We're going to have to ask a different set of questions to determine why this customer wants a battery or storage, whichever one that they want, why they want it, or if they even need it, if it's going to handle what it is that they're looking for. Okay, so I've got a series of questions here that are right out of the in-phase training from Powur about client discovery. There's a couple of areas that we need to understand where our client is coming from. Okay, and the best way to find out whether our client is going to be interested in solar plus storage is to ask the right questions. So first, we need to ask about their energy experience. Some of these questions you were already asking in NEM 2.0, right? But we always want to ask them, when was the last time they experienced a power outage? Okay. What were the impacts of that outage for them and their family? I even ask them, how long was that power outage? Right? Was it a 1 hour outage, 2 hour outage, or a couple of days? You can ask them, how would they handle an extended blackout, more than a day or two? And then you also want to ask them, why are they interested in adding a battery to their solar project? Okay. Now, these questions are important, especially if you're in California, like myself. California, we don't always deal with blackouts, right? A lot of areas that have a lot of blackouts. Some areas we do, but there's areas that we don't have those blackouts. So before I assume my customer needs battery protection and blackout protection, I want to ask these questions, okay? What I found is, in where I live in the Inland Empire area, we don't have a lot of blackouts, but we have brownouts, right? Or scheduled blackouts or brownouts, whatever they call them, where the utility company may once or twice a year say, at this date and this time, we're going to cut off the, we're going to reduce that electricity, or you're not going to have electricity for the next hour or 2 hours, things like that. It happened on Thanksgiving last year, okay, which is a really crazy time, I understand. But it was for a few hours, okay? With that being the case, not a lot of the customers that I have supported and have been supporting, they don't need blackout protection or backup protection. They're not gonna be using it. They don't need it. They're not down that often. And for the times that they are down, sometimes they have generators already in place that can sustain them for that hour or two, okay? So if I'm talking to a consumer that's in that situation, I'm not gonna necessarily pivot to full backup protection with the full blackout protection in that battery. They're not going to need it. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that I can sell them a storage solution instead. The storage solution is going to help them deal with the NEM 3 situation, so they don't have crazy charges from the utility, but it's not going to give them that backup protection that they don't really need. What does that mean? Battery cost is much less expensive than what it was in the past, right? I know a lot of us understand that, but I just want to give that scenario. And then the next set of questions. So now that I've talked to this consumer, right, and we've had that conversation, and they say, well, I haven't had blackouts in the last year or two. I can't remember. When I did, it was an hour. I don't need backup protection for this particular system, right? So then we want to talk to them to find out how much they know about storage, okay? What's your current understanding of how battery plus storage works? Do you know anyone that has storage, just storage and solar without that battery protection? How important is it for you to have backup power during power outages? And what is your motivation for looking into solar and storage? Again, those are just 4 questions that we can have to dig a little bit deeper with this client and find out the exact solution that they're going to need. Okay. This again is a client that doesn't need backup power protection. He just told me that I don't have a lot of power outages, so it's not important to me, but they still need that storage solution. What I want my client to understand is that just because you have a battery, it doesn't automatically mean you have a blackout protection, right? This battery is a storage solution battery only, and it's going to protect you from the net metering charges. Okay. So that's another set of questions. We can't assume that clients know how batteries work. If I assume a client knows how a battery works, they only know the batteries one way. The grid is down, blackout, my system is working. But if I'm selling a client a storage solution that does not have blackout protection, I want to make sure they understand that, so that if they are off the grid for that 1 hour and they think that the system should be working, they understand that it's not going to work for that 1 hour. They need to use that generator. Okay. I'm trying to keep this simple, but still have some good discovery questions there. so that when you bring this, when you're working on a solution or you're bringing it to your mentor, you have all the proper information that we need in order to prepare the right solutions for your client. Okay. And you want to make sure that battery storage is possible, that it's possible for that client. So first of all, not all utilities charge time of use rates, right? We know the big three do: SCE, PG&E, and San Diego SDG&E. We know those utilities do, but not all utilities are on NEM 3 rules. Okay, so it doesn't apply to everyone. The clients need to have space to install the batteries. Okay, I showed you guys a couple of examples of an in-phase and a solar edge. You saw the amount of wall space that was needed. There's a lot of other specifics that go into it. You know, it can only be so far from a window. Some can be inside, some can be outside, cannot be in direct sunlight. So there's different rules that you need to know about each battery and each system, and you're going to get that information in that power training. You want to ask them, will your main service panel need replacing? Right? We need to know that so we can know upfront what we need to design. And then, will your financial situation allow you to qualify for a higher cost solar and storage solution? The purpose for that question, the reason for that question, we know that there is a cost difference between a backup battery and a storage battery. It's a pretty significant cost difference, right? So going in, we don't want to assume that that consumer knows the difference or that they can automatically afford that backup protection. We want to talk to them about that and give them other options that they may be able to use for their system. Okay. Just a few more slides here. So now that you've asked those questions of your client, you've gone through those discovery questions, you've got those answers. In order to know which type of system to pick or which type of battery to choose, we need to know what is the ultimate goal of the client. Okay, it starts there. Are they looking for something for backup protection, right? If they need backup, then you're gonna have to offer them the full or partial battery solution with the full backup so that if they're kicked off the grid, their house is running and they're protected. They're their own little utility, so to speak, okay? Or like in my case, in my area, most of my clients are concerned with the cost, right? And they want to do self-consumption, okay? Peak shaving, self-consumption. Those clients, we're going to offer them a storage solution. They don't necessarily need the blackout protection. Storage solution will work just fine and it'll save them a significant amount of savings on that project, okay? Other things you need to know besides just choosing which do I choose, solar edge or in-phase, which one? The other things you need to know before you make that choice is what is the lifespan or the warranty of the batteries? Okay, depending on what that client is using the battery for is dictates how many times they're going to charge it and discharge it. Batteries have a cycle, they have a limit to them. Each one is different. And also, what other special features does that battery include? So one solution offers different EV feature cycles where it pulls straight from the panels and charges that EV, everything else goes into the battery. The other solution works a little bit differently. So depending on what your client is wanting to accomplish will help you better decide which solution to present to them for their batteries, okay? When it comes to the lifespan of the batteries and the warranty, if you're using a battery for self-consumption mode, that means that thing is going to be turning on and off pretty much on a daily basis, right? Those are things that you need to know. Again, is your client using it for a blackout protection or are they using it for self-consumption? Why does that matter? Well, with our solution for in-phase, they have a 10-year warranty, but it's limited to 3,600 cycles, okay? So there's a limit, right? With Solar Edge, they also have the same 10-year warranty. Most battery solutions have a 10-year warranty, but they have what are called unlimited cycles. Okay, so you want to dig a little bit deeper, depending on what your client is looking for, into each of those batteries and their cycles to offer them the right solution. We also have some options that extend the warranties on the batteries, right? So pretty much if you go with one of these options, you've got a 10-year warranty on that battery. But if you go with Sonova, they've got that 25-year platinum protection plan that will cover that battery for 25 years. Okay. So understanding the ins and outs, understanding the warranties, the lifespan, that's all going to help you design the right system for that client. All righty. And then last but not least, I'm just going to share my experience. Again, my experience is not as hefty as some of the other pros in the platform. I'm in California. I'm in the Inland Empire. That's where my expertise is, and we don't deal with a lot of blackouts. Now I have sold batteries because there are some parts of the IE that are high wind areas that are always having blackouts, 9 or 10 of them a year. So those areas, obviously we send the batteries that way. But the majority, my experience has mostly been with Solar Edge. And they have the advantage in a couple of the following reasons. They have load controllers where you can set what's going to kick on and what's going to be pulling from that battery. You can set those loads up in advance. They have what's called smart home integration, which comes with an EV charger. So when you set that up with Solar Edge, the way that it pulls is less taxing on the storage, less taxing on the battery, without getting all technical, because I'm not a real techie person. But they have that solution that other competitor does not offer. And then when you're doing expansion systems, Solar Edge works better when you're doing a second system or expanding onto a system. Those systems seem to work better. Now with in-phase, they do have the advantage in the following reason. It is easier to retrofit another system onto a system with the in-phase microinverters. So it's an easier retrofit process. So if you know that that client is going to be adding on later or adding another battery on later to their current system that you're selling them now, you may want to look at the in-phase option. Okay, so there's different reasons you choose one over the other. They all have the ins and outs. I honestly have more experience with Solar Edge, so don't let my experience stop you from using the other. You just have to go to the training and get all the ins and outs, all the details. One thing to point out is that Powur does not currently offer battery retrofit only. They get that question a lot. They don't offer that as of now, but they are looking into offering a battery retrofit options. So we anticipate having those in the upcoming future here where we're able to do that. But as of today, Powur doesn't allow that to happen. Not today. And that, my friends, ends my portion of the training. I hope you guys were able to gather some value from that. Again, very basic, just touching on the basics. The key for me though was talking about the discovery questions. Okay, because it's very hard for a mentor to help you work through a project when we don't know what the end goal is of the client. Of course, we can figure that out when we're doing our presentation, but the more we know up front, the better it is all around to help that client and to help you make this deal go through. So on that note, I am going to stop that share. Let me pull up the remaining of our slides and close out our meeting. And then right after we close out our meeting, we can open up for questions. So give me 1 second. I think I'm on the right one. Okay, I think you guys can see my screen. Think so? Thumbs up? Yes, perfect. All right. Okay, thank you. So in closing our meeting today, I just want to remind you guys that there is a Women of Powur newsletter that goes out. It goes out by Friday. It will have this recording plus all of our past recordings, everything that we've done with Women of Powur. Also, there's training on there, other links that may be useful to you. So please drop your first name, last name, and email address in the chat. You will get that automatically. And then last but not least, we like to end with a closing. So our closing quote is, winners are not people who never fail, but people who never quit. And that was by Edwin Lewis Cole. And it's very touching to me because, yeah, we can never quit. Never give up, never quit. You're going to make it. We're going to figure it out. Thank you guys all for joining us again this week for our Women of Powur training. At this time, I'm going to stop the recording and we will go into our office hours. Thank you for taking the time to watch the Women of Powur training series. I hope that you got some great value out of that video, and there's much, much more where that came from. Listen, if you'd like to join Powur or find out more about this awesome and amazing platform, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description. I look forward to connecting with you real soon. Have a great day.